that was another palace taken down and such. So before we move on and everything, I might as well go ahead and like show this off as well too, because I don't think I did show it off in any session and everything. So what we're gonna do right here, and then you know, want to go ahead and use my mirror for this. And pretty much I'll go ahead and show this off real quick. Pretty much as long as right here as well too, or I might as well also go ahead and get some more bomb upgrades as well too. So what we're going to be doing real quick is that pretty much I want to go back to the cave and everything, to where basically we got the ice rod from and such. And if you remember and everything, to where, like, in that cave and everything, I basically ran into the statue and everything, to where, like, I showed off the good bee and such. I don't think I've captured it or, like, used it as of yet and such, or at least not to my recollection and everything. So pretty much we're gonna go right ahead, and finally I'm gonna use this moment to show you what the good bee can actually do and such. So let's go in here. And pretty much we have all 3 empty bottles and such, so this should be okay for us. So first things first. Alright, we got our fairy, we'll keep this one in the bottle. But for you, alright, now what we're gonna be doing is do this, and then capture the bee. Now, from what I understand, there's only one good bee in this statue and everything, so so pretty much like yeah, once you capture this bee and everything, there should be no other bee like that you can find in the statue. So just in case, I am also going to double check just to make sure. Yeah. Alright, so basically that's your only bee that you can find in the statue, or only return if basically you set the bee free and don't bother to catch it back. But basically, here's what the golden bee can actually do, what the good bee can actually do for you and such. So if you see enemies like these crabs are giving you too much trouble, release the bee, and basically, yeah. So basically, as you can see right here, the bee is going to take care of the crabs for you and everything, and once it gets done with that, it's going to start hovering around you and everything, and you can do either one or two things. You could either let the bee go and such, or pretty much just recapture it into a bottle, and pretty much have it ready for like whichever enemy is going to give you trouble next time. So this could be, I might actually show off at least like the dungeon and such. I don't know if I'm going to use it for the boss and such, but pretty much like I will actually at least show it off. Because pretty much I do have a feeling it's going to come in handy for the next dungeon. Alright, before we do anything else, let's go ahead and use this warp. Okay, actually I'm going to need to go back real quick. Because I still want to try to get as many bomb upgrades and arrow upgrades as I can. Whoop. Alright, over here. Alright, so let's go ahead and start throwing some rupees. Alrighty, so we'll start. Okay, actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and like pretty much let's go ahead and just keep increasing bombs until we reach the maximum amount. Cause pretty much we got enough to do something like that. So let's just focus on bombs, and then pretty much we'll focus a little bit on arrows as well too. Alright, so pretty much we got our 50 bombs and such, so pretty much from here on out and everything, that's the maximum amount of bombs that we can carry. So pretty much the only other item we can increase a little bit for now is the arrows. So let me go ahead and at least do that twice. yeah, we'll go ahead and do it one more time. And I'll go ahead and get some more medicine. Alright, let's go ahead and head on out. Alright, we'll go ahead. Alright, so first of all, we're gonna go ahead and pretty much make a quick stop back to the magic shop. And then before we head to the next dungeon and everything, we're gonna go ahead, before we head on over to the next dungeon and such, we're gonna go on ahead and get at least one more heart piece that you can't get at the moment right now and such. Let's see, we're gonna want to go right here. And then we're gonna want to go back on over to. Whoop. We're gonna want to go back on over to the Lost Woods for this. Alright, hold on. Alright, hold on, folks. Slight little intermission. Alrighty, everyone. Back. Basically, like, yeah, my cat just wanted to eat again and such. But anyway, I'm back. So anyway, alright, let's go ahead and make on over to the Lost Woods. And we're gonna need to use, basically one of their teleporters to make it back to the Dark World for this one. So, this. Alright, so, let's... Actually, we gotta... Yeah, we already go first. Go. Alright, I got our sword beams back. Alright, so in order to get this next heart piece and everything, you are going to want to go back to the place to where, usually in the Light World, it will lead you back to Death Mountain. However, in this one, the only way for you to get to Death Mountain in the Dark World is literally go to the Death Mountain in the Light World first. You cannot, pretty much you cannot access the Death Mountain via the other way into the Light World and such. Because this cave has completely changed and such for reasons you'll be seeing real soon. Before we do head to it and such, I am kind of curious about one thing real quick. So if we go up here, basically this is where, basically in the Light World, this is where the lumberjacks would have been and such, and just right here would have been their house. If we were to go into it now, I think it's just like a shop and such. Yeah, it's a shop. Alright. Alright, so basically this cave right here, right, there's your heart piece. And let's read the sign real quick. I'll give a piece of heart to the person who wears the cape. I got a cape, does that mean I get to be Superman? Alright. So the sign is like telling the truth, but at the same time it's not telling the full truth. Yes, you actually do need the cape for this. You actually do need a cape in order to win that heart. But you also need the hook shard in order for you to like make it through this part as well too. Now, now actually you don't really need a hook shard if you don't need it and such. It's just more. It just makes it a lot more easier for you to like. Pretty much like make sure that like you're able to get this heart piece if you have the hook shot and everything. But if you were to do a simple trick and such, then basically like yeah, the only thing that you need to in order to get this heart piece is just basically make sure that like you have the cape and everything. But in this part, like yeah, we don't need the cape. But actually in this part we use both the hook shot and the cape to get our 19th heart piece. And that's the only heart piece we can go, so... Alright, so now that we got that out of the way, let's go right ahead and take care of the next dungeon. And this next dungeon is actually very interesting. Once again, this next dungeon follows like a certain gimmick as well too. So if you take a look at the overworld map, here's the third dungeon right here. And you're thinking that like, okay, so the third dungeon is just somewhere within the you know, Lost Woods and something. You are right about that. It is somewhere within the Lost Woods. However, let's just say there's more than one entrance to this dungeon as soon as you entered into the Lost Woods. Alright. So basically, alright, you see this mouth right here. If you go inside this mouth, basically, here's the entrance to the third dungeon, aka the Skull Woods dungeon and such. So that's one entrance to where basically you can make it into this dungeon just fine and such. And we enter through this chest. Here we go. We got ourselves the map. And we take a look. You just got a basement floor and a second basement floor as well too. And if you take a look at the second basement floor, there's only one grid. Well, basically the first basement floor, it is actually room to lots and lots of floors. So that's one entrance that you can get, you can take care of. However, if we were to go down here, you got another entrance. So basically, this is the gimmick. Basically, yeah, this is the gimmick with basically Skull Dungeon and such, in that basically you have to use multiple different like entrances in order for you to like make it through this dungeon and everything and complete just about everything. And that includes like getting the dungeon item as well as making it into the dungeon boss and such. And pretty much as you can see, some enemies from the original Legend of Zelda game have made a return. For example, we got the Gypnos back and everything, and we got the Wall Masters. Although, like, instead of coming out from the wall, they come out from the ceilings and such. And basically, as you can saw, if these Wall Masters do touch you, basically they grab you and they take you back to the last entrance that you entered through the dungeon and such. So basically, because that like I entered through the dungeon via through the hole and everything, that's the reason why like as soon as I came back in the exact same spot that I entered into the dungeon from the last time. Now, thankfully, unlike the first Legend of Zelda game and everything, if the Wall Masters do touch you, like, you don't lose any health. Like, basically the only thing they really do is just basically like basically they just send you back to the entrance and such. That's really about all they do and such. So they're not really much of a threat in this game. It's just more so they're just more so of an annoyance, if anything. Alright. Alright, so now let's go back outside. And we are gonna have to go through another entrance, which is right here. Whoop. Alright, so over here, before we take this, over here we have the compass. So, alright, let's take a look. And today's dungeon, today's dungeon boss is in the second floor, right in that small grid over there. Alright, so go back up. Okay. Usually for this one, alright, I don't have the item I need for this one, so... What if I do bombs? I'm gonna use one of the medallions. We're gonna see what happens if I was to use the bombs. It should actually work. Yeah, there we go. So pretty much there you go. Like, yeah, if there's any enemies that you know you do not want to deal with as of right now and such, just use one of the medallions and everything, it will make your life a lot more easier. And we're back over here. So, alrighty. So, we're still not done as of yet. Now we gotta find another entrance! Alright, so I will say right here, up front and everything, like, out of all the dungeons and everything from Link to the Past and everything, I would say Skull Woods is probably, like, my least favorite, most definitely my least favorite dungeon out of, like, pretty much out of the whole dungeons from A Link to the Past and such and everything. It's not so much that, like, the dungeon itself is, like, bad or anything, or that, like, or pretty much that much, like, you know, it's, like, frustrating hard or anything like that, but, I don't know, like, it's one of those dungeons where it's, like, the gimmick of it is, pretty much decided kind of, like, meh and such, I pretty much decided one or two things. It's either kind of, like, meh and everything, or pretty much, like, depending on, like, the type of enemies they throw on you, and, or, like, how well, like, you know, you actually, pretty much how well you actually prepare yourself before each enemy and everything. It can make for pretty much an annoying dungeon as well too, here and there and everything. But looking at it right now, and especially with the way that like I'm playing and how the game is treating me so far and everything, once you know like what you need to do with this dungeon and where you need to go and everything, it's not real too bad. I will admit to that part. It's not really all that bad. Over here, okay, pretty much over there, it's just another, like, a big magic jar in case, like, just in case of, like, you know, the enemies from before didn't drop you any. Okay, so now that we got that, let's go ahead and, again, do some more backtracking real quick. Okay. Although I also will say as well too, another annoying part that actually another annoying part that like is featured with this dungeon and everything is that like because that like yeah, like there are gonna be some moments to where like you are gonna have to like go outside and like use different entrances as well too, just to make it through certain dungeons as well. Pretty much like yeah, it can actually make it for a bit of an annoyance to where just in case like you know you actually like kind of like die in the overworld and everything, and like pretty much you're gonna have to start all the way back from like you know the pyramid and everything, and pretty much just try to make it trying to make yourself all the way back over to like the Skull Woods, or at least towards the entrance and everything that you need to go and everything before just so that like you know you can continue on and such. So this is one annoying part I will give to this dungeon. Wow. Alright.
Wow.
Wow. Alrighty. So, alright, we kill some mortal whoops. Alright. Alright, so today, for this dungeon, it's the fire rod. We found a fire rod, and alright, so pretty much like yeah. In a nutshell version, this is just like the ice rod, except instead of you shooting ice, you shoot fire. And basically, think of this as like basically your upgrade to the lantern item and everything. So, basically like yeah, with the fire rod and everything, now you can actually shoot fire from an even greater distance, and that actually will come in handy for a part to where like you actually do need to use this fire rod for in order to complete the dungeon. Alright, let's head on. Yeah, let's head on back in here. Alright, now this time you're gonna want to go in here. there's either a heart or a key to keep. Alright. Alright, now what we're gonna need to do. And this is the only way for you to get out to the other side. So pretty much like, yeah, not only that, but there's also certain sections to where, like, in order for you to make it through a certain section, you have to make it pass through. You have to make it pass through the dungeon first in order to get to a section like this in the first place. Okay. I don't remember if it was a heart attack. Let me check. Okay, now we can make it through this side. And over here is just some enemies that, you know, you can deal with and such if you want. And you get yourself some fairies, too. So if you're ever running low on fairies, there you go.
Oh, hello. Oh, those hands came back.
Oh! Yeah, the wall masters. Well, like I said, like, you know, the good news about these wall masters is that, like, pretty much, like, yeah, if they touch you and everything, they don't deal you any damage. They just basically drop you back to, like, you know, whichever entrance that, like, you came from the beginning and everything. So basically, because I dropped down from that hole and such, basically now every time that, like, the wall masters are able to, like, capture me and such, then basically they'll just, like, always drop me back right down here no matter what and such. So, yeah. So at the very least, like, you know, in terms of this game and everything, they're just more, like... pretty much, like, at least in terms of, like, a Link to the Past and everything, they're just more, like, a nuisance than a threat and such. But anyway, alright, so pretty much, like, I explored every room that I needed to in that map. So now, here's one part that you actually do need this fire rod for and such, otherwise you will not be able to make it in here. Oop. There we go. And here's the other half of the dungeon. We'll have to, yeah, we'll have to take care of those guys later, but for the time being... Oh, I forgot. Okay. Oop. Got surprised I didn't get hit there. Up, there's the mummy. And alright, that little circle right there. I don't know, like, I don't know if I showed that circle off or not. But basically, that little yellow circle that was trying to follow you and everything. Basically, if that circle was to catch up to you, it's going to revert you back to the Link bunny. It's going to revert you back to the pink bunny again. And basically, like, you know, if that was to happen and such, then... basically, if that was to happen and everything, if you remember, whenever Link was turned into a bunny, he cannot use the sword or use his items or do anything and such. So if that was to happen and everything, and basically you'll stay as a Link bunny until either one or two things. Until either A, the magic runs out a little bit, which, you know, doesn't last all too long. Or B, like, you know, if you get hit by, like, anything that includes, like, enemies or any other type of objects, like those spikes, then pretty much you'll be reverted back to normal Link. And another nice thing about the fire rod is that, like, you can kill the mummies in one hit and such. So you don't have to worry about using your sword and everything, which is very, very nice. Whoop. And basically, this is what I mean to where, like, you're only gonna have to use this fire rod and everything after I make it back over here and such. Because basically, as you saw and everything, those are the we do have some torches back, and you are actually gonna have to light them in order to make it through the make it through that room with the Gyptos. Whoop. That's okay. I'm not some kind of prize in a claw machine, you know. I mean, come on, I'm Theodore Roosevelt. Treat me with some respect, would you? Hold on. Alright, excuse me, folks. I might have to keep, like, you know... pretty much I might have to keep a close eye on my cat and such, because he's trying to claw a little bit towards the ceiling and such. I think he might, like, hear something going on through the ceiling and such. So if I, so pretty much if I take a little break and pause, that's the reason why. And pretty much, like, yeah, you can also kill the wall masters with fire as well. But here you go, that's what you need to do. Alright, so basically if you want to get rid of the magic and everything, just make sure you bait that magic to some kind of wall or barrier to where it can destroy itself. For what I understand, you can't actually destroy it with your fire rod as well, not the fire rod, the basically your magic powder as well too, but you have, basically you have to have like a good timing for it is what you need to do. You know what? I'm gonna take this. Go hard. And I think this is another... No. Okay, we're good. Okay, well, I was gonna show off... Alright, well, I was gonna show something off with this boss and everything, but unless one of them... I think either they both... No. Alrighty. Alright, so I'm gonna try my best and beat this boss the old-fashioned way, but be forewarned, this boss is actually very, like, tricky. So, to make it a little bit easier and such, I'm gonna have my friend, the Good Bee, try to help me out with this one. So, the gimmick with this boss is that, as you can see right here, there are conveyor belts moving, and not only are moving conveyor belts, but they're also moving spikes as well, too, that are trying to kill you. And, alright, so basically the strategy here is that, like, one is, like, make sure, like, you know, the spikes don't, like, try to hit you and such. But the conveyor belt actually does start to move and everything. Try to make sure that, like, you know, you aim yourself to where, like, basically to where, like, you know, basically try to aim yourself to where, like, to where you're able to, like, get onto, like, one of those 4 squares and such. That way you won't have to get hit by, like, you know, the spikes and such. So this Martha-like boss, as I like to call it and everything, basically will shoot out these rings from 3 different angles and arcs. And hey, first try, okay, you know what? Good. Alright, so pretty much alright. Alright, so pretty much I did not have to use the cheap trick for this one. Because basically, before I let Barty speak and everything, basically, like, one of the two things that you could do to make this boss easier, as you can see, like, you know, you can use the good bead to reduce some damage. If I had a little bit of more magic and everything, I would have used the Fire Rod and such, because if you were able to, like, end Fire Rod at the boss just fine and everything, you'll be able to take it out in eight hits. And basically another thing that, like, I started doing as well too, basically the cheese way and such, is that basically if you put on your magic cape and everything, you'll become invisible for a good long while and such, giving you like lots of times to basically like get as many hits in on the boss as possible and such. Basically making the fight like a lot more easier and such. But honestly, with that fight and everything, it wasn't really all too bad and such. But we'll say right here, though, like, you know, the boss is not one of my, you know, most favorite bosses to fight and everything, mostly because of, like, you know, the conveyor belts, the spike, just basically you, like, trying to juggle everything while trying to get, like, some good hits with it and such. But as long as you're, like, patient like me and everything, and basically the boss should give you, like, little to no trouble at all. At the very least, it does give you, like, you know, lots of options for you to beat the boss as well, too, so I wouldn't say it's impossible. Just kind of more on the annoying side is what it is. Hey, Barney, go right ahead.
TR, because of you, I can escape the clutches of the evil monsters. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you know the prophecy of the Great Cataclysm? This is the way I heard it. If a person who has an evil heart gets the Triforce, a hero is destined to appear. And he alone must face the person who began the Great Cataclysm.
Hey Joe, welcome to the Legend of Zelda Marathon. Link to the past string.
Who was that?
Basically we have a person in chat named Joe from Mario Golf and such. So welcome, man.
Oh, welcome, man. If the evil one destroys the hero, nothing can save the world from the wicked grain. Only a person of the Knights of Hyrule who protected the royalty of Hyrule can become the hero. You are of their bloodline, aren't you? Then you must rescue Zelda without fail.
Oh, don't worry, ma'am. Alright, with Theodore, I never fail at anything.
And do you understand? Yeah.
Yes, we understand everything.
May the way of the hero lead to the Triforce.
Thank you. Alright.